What I do on a regular is talk to young folks about living their dream, and in spite of what society tells you can and what you cannot do. And one of them, over a period of time, people said, "What you put in the book?" So I did that. So there's books for sale back there. If I don't cover everything in the half hour that I have, it's called Before Common Ground: Living the American Dream and Journey of an Immigrant Football Player. And it talks about my journey from London, England, to the National Football League. So let's begin. My name is Pat Morrison, born in 1960-something, and in London, in Paddington, England, a little town outside of London. And like most kids, I was a normal kid growing up, outside kicking the ball around, in the backyard, on the side streets. But everyone that lived in England, that was an immigrant from the West Indian Caribbean, it was a stopping ground, temporary stopping ground to get to the United States, right? The United States was that place of opportunity that you saw on television. So as a young kid, you watched Tom and Jerry, yes, and I watched cowboy and Indian movies, which were American. We had Little Green Army Men, which were American. You watched TV shows, which were usually American. We talked about music. It wasn't American music, but I remember my first group was the Beatles. Yeah, that was and I had a Beatles guitar as a little kid. So, I lived a normal life relatively, but my mom's aim was to get here 2 years before she got her sister had moved here to Brooklyn, and she was going to come here next. So what happens usually is immigrants, the parents, come first, set up shop, and then go back and get their kids and bring them here. My mom had a very limited education. She was a domestic worker in homes of the wealthy in Larchmont, New York. And while she was here, she left me with her brother and his wife. I say it like that, a brother and his wife. Now, in my book, it goes into real detail on that relationship. But during that period of 2 years that I stayed there while she was here setting up shop, I endured a period of abuse that goes into detail in the book that really left an impact on me and how my future would be that I later used on the field of play. So 2 years, so while I was in England, my mom's here, I always yearned, like any kid, to be with their mama. Like any kid, right? She's there and I'm here, I want to see her while I'm dealing with the abuse, right? So I watched television, cowboys and Indians, and I couldn't wait to get a present from mom, right? Because back then, if you got a present from the United States, in the back of it would say, made in the USA. Oh boy, you couldn't wait to get USA. What? American clothes? Jeans, made in the USA. Today, yeah. Made in China, Taiwan. Right, but made in the USA. I knew my mom was there, and that's where I wanted to be. I wanted to be in America where they got fine clothes, superstars on television, and she's living a good life, because everything in America is big, good there to England. So 2 years later, 1974, I landed in JFK Airport. But my whole thing about coming to America, I want to be so Americanized, I want to be so much like an American, and I adopted some American ways before I even got here. So as I flew into JFK, we were passing the Hudson, and there's a lady sitting in the harbor, freedom, justice, equality. And I'm sitting next to, now I know, he's probably from the South, probably from Texas. And he spoke to me, I was like 8 years old, and I'm speaking back to him. I remember to this day, I write in the book in detail, it's real funny. I try to sound like him. I've never been to America yet, but I know that's how an American sounds. Like a Texan. Some got the little twang. I'm 8 years, I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm sounding like an American. So that's what that trip was all about. So I finally landed. My mom set up in New Rochelle, New York, a little suburb right outside of the Bronx, and I went to school there. And I talk about in the book of being a cultural outlier because I'm dark, I'm tall, I sound funny. He's an Englishman that looks like us, but he has no origins here, and he sounds funny. So as an 8-year-old, 9-year-old, 10-year-old, you know what happens to the new guy on the block. A little bullying, fighting every day, getting kicked out of school, coming home, Mom, look what they do there. I don't want to hear it. This is what they do in America. You got to toughen up. You know, she was here 2 years before I got here, and it wasn't easy for her. But she couldn't use any excuses. She had an objective to get a child here. She had to continue to deal with some of the things that she dealt with, because she remembers telling me as I got older, she didn't experience racism until she got to America. But that couldn't stop her from doing what she had to do, because she had a plan of getting a child here to be with her. I have an older sister that didn't want to move with the aunt. So at 15, 16, she was on her own, living her own life in London. She's still there today. So I was by myself. Me and my mom got here, living in New Shell, went to Columbus School, and for those early years, I got into fights until one day, maybe a year later or 2 years later. Is one of the Dallas Cowboy fans in here? No. Very good. Oh, we got one. We got one. Do we have any? We have Pittsburgh Steelers, Steeler Nation. Those Steelers. Okay, so that was my first football game, 1975, that I saw on television when Lynn Swann made that great catch against the Dallas Cowboys. And I always talk when I talk to the kids, is that there's going to be epiphany. There's going to be something that's going to spark you to say that's what I want to do. And I talk about the matrix, the red pill and the blue pill. The red pill is a time of is not reality. It's your dream state. You're going through the motions, but it's not really what's going on underneath. So you have a choice to live your life in a dream state or take the blue pill. When I saw that game, I'm a young kid, I'm watching television, having a great time. You're supposed to be like that when you're a kid. You're supposed to enjoy and dream the impossible dreams. And think about being a doctor, a lawyer, whatever you want to be, police officer, whatever you want to be. But it was that day when I took the blue pill. And I said, I want to play that sport. It looks like rugby, but they got helmets on. But I know it's a little bit different than rugby, but I want to play that sport right there. So I remember and how important it is for adults to support children. Because I was in 6th grade, running around in the schoolyard playing kickball. I don't know if they play kickball anymore, kickball, and jumping off walls with my friend. His name is Icky, he's in the book, very close friend of mine. That the principal said to me, I hope to see you in the Olympics one day. He thought that much of me, that he saw something in me that I didn't see of myself, that I didn't even know was in me in the 6th grade. So I started playing the sport after a couple of tries of joining Pop Warner midget football. My buddy was supposed to come get me, Earl Bradshaw, twice. He never came and got me. One day I waited until after school and followed him home until I got to practice with him, and he introduced me to the coaches. And I started playing football at 11. My first year playing football, I got MVP. Never seen the game, never played a game, but I watched, I paid attention. Because there was people that were before me, like the people have walked this path. Sometimes you don't need to reinvent the wheel. There's kids that's been there that's organic to America, and there's even immigrants that have come before me that have been here longer and knows the way. Sometimes kids, adults, we all think we know it. And sometimes we don't want to take a step back and just follow and pay attention. The person that taught me how to play football was also an immigrant. His name is Darren Rowe. He was skinnier than me, and he was 6'6", like 120 pounds. Finished growing at 6'8". He ended up playing in Europe for many years and he's a Hall of Famer in Europe. Gave up football, but he used to play football, and you can't do it now in today's football, but he would literally knock kids out. I'm like, how is he hit so hard? He's so skinny. But I took from him how to play this game. So you could be skinny, not meet the dimensions that they say you should meet as a football player, not look the part. Some people say, you're too fat, you're too skinny, you're too tall, you're too short. I took the pill. I said, no matter what it is, this is what I want to do. So I've learned and I've watched, I've learned those that have gone the path, that this is what I want to do, and I need to just follow it. And I took what Darren taught me, I took what Earl taught me, I took what Icky taught me, I took from my community, what it takes to be successful as an American. Hard work. It ain't easy. It's not supposed to be easy. Then anybody can do it. Anybody can be the National Football League. Gotta want it. You gotta take that pill. So I took the pill. I ended up going to college. This is about New Haven. I went to Southern Connecticut State University. That's what brought me here, because I'm from New York. I got recruited out of high school. Before I get there, here's another story before I get into college, how things could happen and being prepared. We were 8-1 my senior year, playing in a playoff game against a team from Yonkers, New York. We had some of the top players in the county at the time. We lost the game 12-7. Coach came in the back of the locker room, knocking on the door, and the only thing he heard was this. So he comes back, goes, what was that? Everyone's closing their lockers. Why is everybody closing their lockers? So he opens up the locker. Alcohol. Old E800. Old English 800 that the rest of the team, a few guys on the team, had drank before the game. And we lost that game. Guess who didn't drink? And I wasn't the best on the team, by far. The names I mentioned before, Icky, Earl Bradshaw, Ben Jefferson was 6'9", 308, and he was in 9th grade. Another guy we had was 6'6", 285, he went to Duke. These guys drank. Another guy we had went to Nebraska to play football. This is our front line. And unfortunately, or fortunately, they didn't play. In our last game, which was a national televised game on Channel 11, New York, Thanksgiving game. They used to have that game nationally televised on Thanksgiving Day. So an opportunity presented itself, and I was ready. Opportunities are going to present themselves all the time. You may not be the one at the moment, but when opportunity presents itself, will you be ready? I was ready. And after that game, of course, they gave me the MVP. They more or less said I had the MVP in the first half of the game because I blocked punts, I had sacks, I just went ballistic, and I more or less got the MVP of that game in the first half of the game because opportunity presents itself and I took full advantage of it. And that's where Coach Kevin Gilbride, two-time NFL champ, recruited me. He was my coach at Southern Connecticut State University. Had opportunity to come here and play. There's a story behind that. Now I'm coming out of high school, I'm a superstar, did great on television, everybody knows me, and I think I come to Southern Connecticut and be the man. Good setup, Kev. Good setup. Good setup. And I relatively was the man in my own head. Right? But I was good. I was good enough to play. But there's a lot to learn when you're young and naive. You may be good, but there's still a lot that you have to learn. And sometimes when we feel that way, our minds start to wander. So my last story in regards to this, before I tell you about signing in the National Football League, is that as a freshman, I knew I was good, but I knew I had some to learn. But I think I practiced all my freshman year, played JV, and sophomore year I should be ready to start. They had moved a starting guy that was from a transfer from Arizona State down to strong safety, and it was between me and another white kid who was going to be a senior who did his time. It was for him to start. But I figured I'm the better athlete. I'm that kid from high school that you recruited that was on national television. I'm knocking everybody out in practice. I'm hitting hard, I'm faster, I'm everything that you want me to be. And you not playing me. I'm on the bench running down on kickoffs. That doesn't sit right with an egotistical young man. So I didn't start, and I'm upset. So it gotta be because I'm black. It gotta be. Why am I not playing? He's a white kid, I'm a black kid, I'm a better athlete. I run better, I'm faster, I'm stronger, I jump high, and all that things. This is football. How come I'm not starting? Gotta be because I'm black. We gotta stop throwing the race card out there so easy. We gotta really assess and reevaluate ourselves to ensure that what comes out of our mouth is truth. When I sit back and relax and remember what happened, I wasn't ready, because he put me in there one time. I had guys running all over the place, didn't know where they were going. I was like, Pat, you're supposed to say one, not five. I'm calling five, not one. I couldn't get the team organized so they could play the game. The coach did not want to take a chance on me going out there. Even though I was the best, there was still a lot for me to learn when it comes to a group and to lead the group. Because the defensive back, as safety, is the quarterback on defense. Everybody know what Brady is. Brady's the man. And he controls and organizes that offense, and it's clockwork. That's what a safety needs to be. And even though I had the athletic ability, I didn't have everything that it needed to lead. But my first emotions was to go to the external instead of thinking about myself and be self-reflective of myself. So this is what happens, an opportunity presents itself. First game against Springfield, wide receiver going up the sidelines, one of our best friends, his name was Sonny Fernandez, had him covered. The kid came over and missed the receiver and hit Sonny Fernandez. Guy catches the ball, runs for a touchdown. We lose the game. That was the first game of the season. I said, all right, that's all right, you made a mistake, that won't happen again. Second game, Sonny has the guy covered, goes to the sideline, he misses the guy, hits Sonny, guy goes touchdown. 2 games. Joe Brown looks at me, he said, Pat, get in there. The boy never saw the field again for the rest of his career. Opportunity presents itself. But I was ready then, because I watched the mistakes. I watched who went before me and learned from them what not to do, how to pursue a receiver instead of this way, upfield. Little things make a difference. That made me a better person, that made me a better athlete. So at the end of the day, after 4 years of patrolling the defense, knocking people out and smiling and pointing and having a good time at Southern and meeting a lot of wonderful people, Karen would tell you, I lived basically down at Yale, my senior year, just running around with my friends. But it's a great place. New Haven's a great place. I learned, I grew up here. I grew up on how to be a man, how to be a leader in New Haven. I'm glad that I'm here. At the end of the day, I was ranked number 20th in the country as a safety behind all the safeties, all the football players you see in the country. I was ranked number 20th. I was asked to play for the New York Giants. As a safety, I was the second safety pick behind another guy named Adrian White from Florida. Although my career didn't last long because I fell and had a terrible back injury to my L4, L5. That short period with Lawrence Taylor and Phil Simms, I learned a lot about leadership. I learned a lot about being a gentleman. I learned a lot about being a man. And my book details everything in more detail about that journey and living the American dream, taking that pill and assimilating to American culture, because it's not going to be given. But through hard work, I believe, as an immigrant, you can achieve your goals. And what motivated me to finish the book, as I go back, is this commentary out there about immigrants. I am one. And I love America for what it afforded me. I had to wait a couple of years to get my citizenship, just like my mother did. But in the meantime, she cleaned homes. She walked miles to live the American dream, to bring her son over. But I do remember going to the Twin Towers and saying the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. Sometimes you got to go through some rough stuff. Sometimes you have to jump some barriers and climb some walls to live it. But at the end of the day, America's been great. It ain't perfect. It's not a perfect union. We know that. But it's our duty. It's our duty. Citizens, immigrants, American born, to make America what it's supposed to be. Inclusive. And for all of us to live a life of freedom, justice, and equality. Thank you.